Hello everyone and welcome back to another math video. Today we're going to be looking at how do you multiply polynomials, including using the FOIL method. Just a reminder, this is the full length lesson, so we're going to go step by step with a bunch of examples. If you'd like the short version, where we just go through the main ideas pretty quickly, I will link that in the description below. Before attempting this lesson, you should already know the multiplication rule. You should know about the distributive property and combining like terms. If you want refreshers on any of those, I will link those in the description as well. All right, so for this first problem, it's just sort of the distributive property, right? Remember, there's an invisible -1 here. So we do -1 times 2 is -2. And remember, we add these exponents. So now we're going to get p to the fourth. And then we do it over here. So we would get -9p to the second power. And this is our final answer. All right, here's our cool clock for today, which means that it's time for you to practice what you just learned. Go ahead and pause the video and try these two problems on your own. And when you're ready, you can unpause the video and we'll check your answers. Okay, now that you've had time to work these problems, let's check your solutions. For the first problem, you should have gotten -9g cubed plus 27g. And for the second problem, you should have gotten -2y cubed minus 2y squared minus y. All right, for this problem, let me talk about the most common mistake here. Most students see this little 2 here, and if you've studied the power rule, they say, okay, I take this 2 and I give it to everything in the parentheses. And that is incorrect. And the reason it's incorrect is because you need to think of this as saying there are 2 of these parentheses. So it's 2p minus 4 and 2p minus 4. All right, that's what that exponent of 2 actually means. And now there are 2 ways to look at this. A lot of students and teachers will show students the FOIL method, okay? And I'll show that very quickly here. FOIL stands for first, outside, inside, and last. So first means you multiply the first terms in each parentheses. So 2p times 2p is 4p squared. Remember, there's invisible ones here. Then O for the outer would mean that, actually let's do it like this, okay? And then you would do the outside terms, the outside of each parentheses. So that would be 2p and -4. So that would be minus 8p. Then we do I for inner or inside. So the 2 on the inside would be -4 and 2p, which would be -8p again. And then L for last is the last terms in each parentheses. So -4 times -4 is +16. If you look at sort of the shape of the lines, some students have called that the hurricane. Really what we're doing, we call it FOIL, but all we're really doing here is we're distributing, right? Okay, just like in the first problem, we take the first and we distribute it to both. Then we take the second number and we distribute it to both. All right, FOIL is just another word for distributive property. Okay, now that we're here, we need to combine like terms because this and this are like terms, they can combine. So we're going to end up with 4p squared minus 16p plus 16, and this is the final answer. All right, it's time to practice. Go ahead and pause the video, try these 2 on your own. And when you're ready, you can unpause the video and we'll check your answers. Okay, now that you've had time to work these problems, let's check your solutions. Okay, for the first problem, here's the work, and you should have ended up with 9w squared plus 15w plus 4. And for the second problem, you should have ended up with p squared minus 16. Notice that when you did positive 4p minus 4p in the middle, you ended up with 0p, so we don't even put it. All right. Last problem, think of this as distributive, okay? So we're going to take this 2z and we're going to multiply by everything in the parentheses. So 2z times -3z is -6z cubed. 2z times negative, remember there's a 1 there, so that's -2z squared. Then 2z times -3 is -6z. And now we take the -1 and we distribute it again. Everything in the parentheses. So now we're going to have plus 3z squared plus, say, 1z or plus z, and plus 3. And now we need to combine like terms. So starting with the highest exponent, negative 6z cubed, nothing to combine. Bring it down. Cross it out. Negative 2z squared can combine with 3z squared to give me 1z squared. Negative 6z and positive 1z is negative 5z. And the plus 3 has nothing to combine with. And this is our final answer. All right, it's time to practice. Go ahead and pause the video and try these two problems on your own. And when you're ready, you can unpause the video and we'll check your answers. Okay, now that you've had time to work these problems, let's check your solutions. Okay, for the first problem, you should have gotten negative 3z cubed, 3s cubed plus 8s squared plus 20s minus 16. And for the second problem, you should have ended up with 12b to the third power minus 5b to the second power plus 6b plus 2. All right, that is it for today. I hope you all have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.